Man, I gotta get off of Twitter. That shit is toxic, man. But this is Infinite Jeff. I'm Jeff. Finite Jeff. Alas. And this is a thing where I read one page of Infinite Jest, the novel, the famous novel by David Foster Wallace. One page every day. Put it on the internet. Hope I don't get his estate somehow thinking this is something they need to be concerned with. You know, at this point, I have not really. I mean, I think I've told a few friends about this, and I posted on my Twitter, but no one really follows my Twitter. Like 20 people, literally, which is fine. So, I don't know. I don't know what this is going to become, but I like doing it for me. Yeah. Like, it's actually fun to put the thing together and read it. Especially these chapters right now where this guy's just so fucking... so many anxieties. It's funny. Anyway, this is page 22. 22, página número 22 of the book. And here we go. Know what his draw was anymore. He couldn't even be around anyone else if he'd smoked marijuana that same day. It made him so self-conscious. And the dope often gave him a painful case of pleurisy if he smoked it for more than 2 days straight of heavy continuous smoking in front of the interlace viewer in his bedroom. It made his thoughts jut out crazily in jagged directions and made him stare raptly like an unbright child at entertainment cartridges. When he laid in film cartridges for a vacation with marijuana, he favored cartridges in which a lot of things blew up and crashed into each other, which he was sure was an unpleasant fact specialists like Randy would point out had implications that were not good. He pulled his necktie down smooth while he gathered his intellect, will, self-knowledge, and conviction, and determined that when this latest woman came, as she surely would, this simply would be his last marijuana debauch. He'd simply smoke so much, so fast, that it would be so unpleasant, and the memory of it so repulsive, that once he'd consumed it and gotten it out of his home and his life as quickly as possible, he would never want to do it again. He would make it his business to create a really bad set of debauched associations with the stuff in his memory. The dope scared him. It made him afraid. It wasn't that he was afraid of the dope. It was that smoking it made him afraid of everything else. It had long stopped being a relief or fun. This last time, he would smoke the whole 200 grams, 120 grams cleaned, destemmed, in 4 days, over an ounce a day, all in tight, heavy, economical one-hitters off a quality virgin bong, an incredible, insane amount per day. He'd make it a mission, treating it like a penance and behavior modification regimen all at once. He'd smoke his way through 30 high-grade grams a day, starting the moment he'd woke up, and used iced water to detach his tongue from the roof of his mouth and took an antacid, averaging out to 200 or 300 heavy bong hits per day, an insane and deliberately unpleasant amount. And he'd make it a mission to smoke it continuously. Even though if the marijuana was as good as the woman claimed, he'd do 5 hits, and then want to take the trouble to load and one hit any more for at least an hour. But he would force himself to do it anyway. He would smoke it all even if he didn't want it, even if it started to make him dizzy and ill. He would use discipline and persistence and will, and make the whole experience so unpleasant, so debased and debauched and unpleasant, that his behavior would be henceforward modified. He'd never even want to do it again, because the memory of the insane 4 days would be so firmly, terribly emblazoned in his memory. He'd cure himself by excess. He predicted that the woman, when she came, might want to smoke some of the 200 grams with him, hang out, hole up, listen to some of his impressive collection of Tito Puente recordings, and probably have intercourse. He had never once had actual intercourse on marijuana. Frankly, the idea repelled him. 2 dry mouths bumping at each other, trying to kiss his self. And that was página número 22, page 22. Infinite Jest. Infinite Jeff. This is Jeff. signing off.